Hi guys, so we are about to start episode 4 where we will check out the system. We are going to make sure that our files are in order before we proceed to the next phase. So far we have defined our nodes, we have defined our walkers, we have got a basic implementation on how this expense tracker is gonna be working. So yeah, so the main objective of this episode is to correct our bugs and on the way, of course, learn exactly where we went wrong, if there are any errors, and we can fix them and learn together. So let's go. So the best way, so in terms of syntax, we have a perfect file. We fixed that in the last video. So if we are going to search for, more logical errors and such, we need to start by, serving the backend. So cd backend, and then we are going to run this command jack serve main.jack. So just me extend this a bit more. Right. Okay. So there are errors, right? And so let's see what the error is. Okay, it's a type error. It says non-default argument date follows non-default argument merchant. Okay, so this is in our main file. So let me see exactly uh, what this is referring to. Okay, this is the problematic error. It's because um, these are actually, so we are giving default argument in the strings. So what we need to do is we need to take it to the bottom. So even this also needs to get shifted. So let me just cut that out. Okay, that's better. And let's see if we have made that similar error in the others as well. So amount, see. I can't find it. Let's anyway just now try serving the main file again. Okay. Okay, so there's another very similar error as well. Okay, so this is the problem. I think I adjusted the wrong location earlier. So yeah, this is the problem. We need to cut that out, paste it here. Okay, right. So let's see if it's all okay now. All right, yeah. So the server has started. And I also want to make a note that now when we actually run this command, automatically this database, my database gets initialized. So it's storing, this is where it stores all your sessions. And it also keeps a track of the memory. So let's go over to the server. Just take this. Here we are at our local host, and since we don't have a front end, we can't really visualize anything. But let's go to our Open API, right, or Fast API, where we can check out our endpoints and see if everything is working in order and is working as expected. So we have monitoring APIs, the user APIs, webhook, utility, Walker APIs, and all that. So this is another advantage of OSP. We don't have to manually define these endpoints because we are working on a graph architecture. These endpoints get defined automatically with the Jack language. So first, so these are our walkers. So this is where we can actually traverse the graph. So we will initialize the graph. So when we initialize the graph, we need to enter the correct username and password and all that. Then we can add expenses. We can retrieve data as well by getting the dashboard data or get expenses by category and so on. So before we do that, first of all, we need to actually register our users, right? Because only registered users can actually go in and traverse the graph. If, for example, I try to initialize the graph, say, let me just try this out and, just say username, say Michael, for instance, and execute, we are going to be met with an error, a not authenticated error. So let's go ahead first and register. So I'm going to go and set my email. Let's say, just put Michael at example.com, and maybe here compiles 1, 2, 3, execute. So yeah, successfully registered with a code, response code of 201. So now we are in the system, and then we need to get a verification code. So let's try this out as well. Execute. Okay, so we are getting a non-authenticated error, right? Why is that? So let's try logging in. So this was Michael. The password of compiles 1, 2, 3. Execute. So we've gotten a token. It's a success. So we can use this token now. This bearer token, we can take it up, and we can set it here. Right, so we have logged in. Okay, great. Now, since we have logged in, we can actually now traverse the graph, right? So if we want, we can also change our password. Maybe, so our old password was compiles 1, 2, 3, and if I want to make my new password, say password 1, 2, 3, execute, successfully updated, right? So that is also working perfectly fine. Okay, so now if I try to log in with the old password, so if I execute this with compiles 1, 2, 3, it's going to be invalid email or password. So it's fantastic, it's working great. So let's have these credentials. So password 1, 2, 3, that is our new password. And now let's try to initialize the graph. So last time when I just put Michael, it said not authenticated. But now if I just execute this to see, it says, okay, there's an error saying unauthorized. So a small issue there. Okay, what can be the reason? Okay, we are logged in. Let's try with the full email instead. Okay, so we are getting again unauthorized error. Okay, so we are back on VS Code, and let's just check the terminal log. So as you can see, it says unauthorized. Okay, so perhaps there is a problem with our init graph, and I can see that. So we are trying to create a user node with just the username, and that might be the actual issue because our user node expects two more parameters as well. So let's try, so we need to make sure that we're getting the correct parameters. So where's the password? Um, Actually, this password we can find it here as well as password. Yeah, that's better. And you can change this to self.password. Perfect. Now let me just save the file and okay. Great. So let me now start the server again. Okay, so we are again back on the browser and I'll just refresh the page. So let's let's try it out. So first of all, I think we need to log in again. So let me log in first. Michael. example.com and with the password of password 123, execute. Right, it's success. So I'm going to take this PR token, get access here, authorize. Okay, great. We're logged in again. And now if I initialize the graph, so we have username and the password. So let me update this to Michael. And password is password from factory, that's correct. Execute. Okay, there's an internal server error this time. So, okay, that's a type error. So our settings node misses one required positional argument. So what actually, yeah, so the fix worked to, ensure that the email and password was also passed as arguments in the user node. So now let's go back to our VS Studio code and make this error. So here we are, and as you can see in the terminal, also you can see the settings. It's missing a required positional argument currency. Okay, so let's see. This is the problem. So we are just initializing it with no arguments, and we need to define that. So let's see. Okay, currency. Today we don't need these things, I believe. I don't think those are required. Let's keep it like this. So I'm going to save it. Let's save it, and let's start the server again. Okay, let's go back to our local host. All right, so we'll have to log in again. So let me just quickly get. Okay, now let's test our init graph. So try it out. User is Michael. Password 123. Execute. Okay, we're having another error. We're having another error. Okay, this time. Okay, there's a. All right. Okay, I think it's this true. We need to make it a capital T. Okay, so small errors. Let's fix that. Okay, so the error is in line 42. Let's see. Okay, here, this is the troublesome word. Okay, it's true. Let me also search if I have made similar mistakes anywhere else. Nope, this is the only place. All right, that's fine. Back to the localhost. First of all, let me save this and start the server once again. All right, now we can go back to our browser. All right, here we are. So I'm going to just refresh the page and let's log in once more. And let's see. Hopefully there will be no more errors. Let's try it out. User. So Michael, execute. Okay, another error. Too bad. Okay, so this time the error is it's an attribute error. List object has no attribute name. Okay, so it's line 95. All right, it's a list object. Okay, let's see what it is. Okay, so as you can see here, it's this problem with line 95. It's a problem with this report function. So user node.name is saying that it's a list. User node is taken as a list. So I think what the problem here is we need to extract. Let's see. I'm not quite sure, but let's see if this would work. So if it's a list, we are interested. Let's say the first element 0. Let's see if that property holds the name first and foremost. So I'm going to save it and let me just close the server. All right, I've restarted it and I'm going to go back to our local host. Okay, fresh. Let's log in first. Okay. Okay. Fingers crossed. Let's see if it has actually worked. So, okay. Please correct the following validation errors and try again. For node, required field is not provided. Okay. Okay. See, I think we went to the wrong API entry. We don't need this one. We should be trying this one. So apologies for that. Let's try this. So the username is Michael and password 123. Execute. Okay, so finally we are having a success code. 200 graph initialized with default user and settings. Fantastic. So we have created the 6 default categories. If you remember correctly, that was food, transport, shopping, and other likewise, right? So now we have initialized the graph. So now the graph has been activated. Now what we can do is, so here this node is actually like what we can do, like maybe add an expense and so on. So we don't have to define it here. We can actually define it right here. Okay, because this is actually valid if you are like you have an expense but you have not initialized the graph, then you can do both in one shot. So since we're just testing the system, let's go over here and try out. So let's say, so these are the fields we need to fill, right? Let's say we went to say Starbucks and we ordered a coffee. So let's say the amount was like $10. $10. String the date. So let me just put the date as the 1st of November 2025. Category name. You can actually put this or if, the system would figure it out, but let's just say, food. I want to record it as food, right? So once we make the dashboard, we will actually give the full uh, control to the user. They can select from the drop-down list and whatnot, right? So we're just checking, we're just testing the system at this point. Let's execute and see what happens. And okay, there's another internal server error. All right, so let's see what the problem is. So data from data source has type string, but settings or currency requires class int. Okay, I think I know what this error is. We defined our currency as a integer, but we also defined um, separate class for this called currency. So let's go back to our VS Code. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. So right here, we have currency and we have defined it as this class, currency class, right? Enough. But when we pass it on the add expense, let's see what we have done over here. So we are getting the amounts, currency.usd. Okay. So what is the actual issue here? Right. Okay. Passing it as a currency, but we are expecting it as, okay. Okay, this is the problem. So we are defining it there as an integer. Yeah, I think that is the problem. So we should, yeah, this needs to change to currency. Yeah, I think that is the issue. That's what the error said, right? So data from data source type string, but settings of currency requires class int. Okay, let's see. Making that mistake anywhere else? No, I think it looks good to go. It looks fine. Yeah, cool. So let's close the server and start it once more. Right, back to the local host. Okay, so we are back here and you know the drill now. We gotta do it all over again, starting with logging in. Let's quickly get this done. Okay, So then we need to initialize the graph, right? Yeah. Actually, let's you know what? Let's try and add an expense without initializing the graph. Let's see what happens. So if we try out, say let's just put some figures here. There's a internal server error. Okay, actually, the session is there. The session is there, so that's not a problem. But now we are having another issue where the list object has no attribute ID. I think this is very similar to what we faced before, where I altered the report and we actually fixed the error, right, with referring to the zeroth item. So let's fix that error for the other report items as well, so that this error is resolved once and for all. Okay, so we are back in VS Code, and let me just check our report items one by one. So here we have a report, and this is I think the problematic ones, right? So it says the new expense dot ID, that attribute does not exist. So let me just put 0 and just copy paste this here as well. Yes, tab, okay, new expense, here also we probably need it. Yeah, it should be there. I was wondering why it didn't autocomplete, but it should be there. Or maybe not actually. This target category is not a node. So yeah, actually, yeah, this is wrong. Let's remove that. Okay, let's see the other report items. So we have total expenses. It's fine. Category name. Yeah, it's also okay. Yeah, I think we are good to go. Just shut down the server and get it up and running once. Okay, so we are on the local host again. And okay, let's log in. Let's try adding an expense. $10. Date 2nd of November. Category name, let's say it's food, and the merchant Starbucks. Execute. All right, there's another error. It's the same error. Okay, this time new expense. Expense object has no attribute ID. Okay, it has no attribute ID. It's a different. Okay, I think I know what's going on here. We are not defining an ID, right? Let me just check in a VS Code again. Okay. So when we define our expenses, we don't necessarily give an ID, even though now we are reporting the expense ID. So this is actually the problem, I think, when it comes to autocomplete. Sometimes we get weird parameters that we are not even defining. So if you look at this new expense object, we have amount, we have currency, amount USD, merchant, date, and created at, but we don't have this ID as such. So let me just get rid of that line. And let me just double check. So amount we have the currency, the category is there, as well as the date. Category is actually not in the new expense, but rather it's a target category which we are defining up. So yeah, I don't think there are any other IDs, or hopefully not. So let's go back to our local host. Just save this first, start the server, and then get it up and running once. All right. Let's do this again. And now let's try adding an expense. Hopefully, it's going to work without an issue. Let's try it one more time. Second November. 5 name is food. Merchant Starbucks. Okay. Right, let's execute. And oh, finally, we have a success code. Expense has been added successfully, right? So that's great. So we have the amount 10, USD, other, yeah, perfect. That's perfect. Right, and now we can try maybe, getting some dashboard data. Let's see. So there are no parameters. This should actually, though it's a post, I think it should be get instead. See if I execute. Right. So there's no problem. It's anyway the server response is returning a 200, and we can see. All right. So there's no category breakdown, or there's no biggest category or anything. So this is it's not a logical error per se. It's more like our data. It's there in the database. It's there in the database, but it's failing to show up here. It's not a huge issue, but we have now validated our system, right? And if we, let's say, if we want to get our expenses by category, let's try this out as well. Let's say food. Yeah, it's a server response is 200, but then again here as well, you would expect the count to be 1. Um, yes, there is a small error involved there, and let's definitely discuss that in the next video. Yeah, and that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I've also entered a blog article in the description below. Make sure to check that out. It covers all the content we covered so far in the first 3 videos, from defining the system graph and architecture, and finally testing the agent system, the nodes and the workers and so on. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to my channel, and drop a comment. Let me know what you thought of it, any questions, any feedback on the delivery and so on. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.